Hello there. How you guys doing? Today's video, it's probably going to be one of my best ones yet. I gotta say, I have to thank XBlue. XBlue was kind enough to come onto my channel and actually have an interview with me. It's super crazy. I got to have a full, in-depth conversation with him about the movie that he just created, Night 5, the Five Nights at Freddy's fan movie. Gotta say, great film. Watched it live on Twitch. It was an awesome conversation. I asked him a whole bunch of questions that you guys might have had. I know I had definitely had some. Some people in my chat had some. I asked him a whole bunch of questions. I had a really good time doing this. Great guy. Obviously a great conversation. So you guys are going to want to stick around and watch that. But before we get into that, I do want to let you know, I actually have started a podcast. I will link it down below if you guys want to check it out. I'm actually going to upload the episode on there. So if you want to listen to it, it's on there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. It was awesome. Huge thanks to XBlue. His channel will be in the description. Go ahead and enjoy. Alright, so, XBlue, thank you for joining me right now. Obviously, you have just done, I'd say, one of the craziest things in FNAF history, which is going to be making an entire movie, scratch, absolutely no help from Scott Cawthon, Steel Wool, nothing like that, right?
Yeah, no help. I wish we had some help because that would have been nice. But yeah, we just wanted to make a movie. We thought it would be cool since we already had the set, so here we are.
So, out of curiosity, I think everyone needs to know this. What made you want to make this? Like, this is a crazy project. What made you want to make this?
Yeah, so basically, about a year ago, we wanted to make, because we had just finished making Five Nights at Freddy's 4 in real life, and we knew we wanted to do something else. And we thought, okay, no one has really made a 100% accurate version of the game Five Nights at Freddy's 1, and the only people who have didn't do it 100%, and we
They
thought,
cheapskated.
okay, well, exactly,
They cheapskated. No, I get what you're saying.
So Matt Pat did, his own version, and there was the whole, real one, quote-unquote, in Las Vegas, but those don't really slide in my book. So we thought, why not go absolutely crazy and do as much as we could to get it as accurate as possible. And while we were talking about doing that, we're like, okay, if we're already going to be making a full, replica set, why not make a movie based off of, what we already have in that set? And since, unfortunately, Blumhouse and
Pretty
the whole
convenient.
team trying to make that movie has just been hitting delay after delay, and finally they have been starting to say, oh my gosh, yeah, we're starting to make it, here's the people who are making the costumes. And that's cool, but they still haven't made the film yet. So we thought, okay, we might as well be so unequivocally nice to the FNAF fan base and make a movie from our souls, if you will. And I think for what we had to work with, it turned out pretty all right.
Okay, so actually, that actually is a really good point. How much, if you had to estimate right now, how much did it cost to make that movie?
Oh man. Okay, so we got to include the set money, because if we didn't have the set, there would be no movie. So I want to say it probably cost $20K to put the whole thing together.
Really?
Yeah, and we'll be lucky if we can make back some of it. So
that's a lot. So okay, just to clarify, you made the original FNAF 1 set. I don't have your channel in front of me. I should have done this little bit of research here. But you made some money back off the FNAF 1 in real life, right? You made some money back off on that because that got like 1 million views, correct?
Yeah. So I think that video is, hold on. Here, let me pull up the channel. Yeah, so that video is at 2.3 million.
That's a lot.
Not too shabby.
That is a lot.
We were freaking out consistently that video was doing well. So I think just the set and all the stuff we did for the FNAF 1 in real life, I think it cost $10K. And then I think we made back 11. So we made $1,000 profit. There's not much you can do with that, but it's
not great margins.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and we put all of that money back into the movie. So we're just trying to make a business really at this point with just funding all of this money. So yeah.
So obviously, as you just said, $20K, a lot of money to put, especially on a project like this. And this took you over the course of a year. How many people would you say? Because I've been watching, so I kind of caught onto your channel when you did the updates about the FNAF movie. So for me, I caught on a little bit later. To be honest with you, I caught on a little bit later in the whole FNAF movie hype train. I found it. I made a video on it. I'm very thankful that you let me make a video on it. I even reacted to it live. But this whole process, it's really been a journey for you guys. What would you say was the hardest moment, the biggest challenge to overcome? I think I know your answer, but for the viewers, what is that hardest moment?
Man, this is a phenomenal question. So there's been unfortunately, there's been a lot of really hard moments throughout this entire process. Obviously, putting the set together was difficult because we didn't know what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
But that was really difficult. But also, putting together a full-length movie is also really difficult. And I can see why it's taken Blumhouse so long. And they have a budget, so I can't imagine. But
I'm wondering what their budget is. I'm wondering what their budget is.
More than ours, good lord. But definitely, I would say the hardest part was just trying to be as close to the actual game as possible. I knew we would forget, like one or two things out of the entire set, and of course, everyone would call us out on it. Like for the FNAF one in real life, we didn't have Golden Freddy, and everyone was wondering where Golden Freddy was.
Pretty big detail.
We were like, okay, if we put in Golden Freddy and people died from Golden Freddy because they didn't know what to do, that would seem unfair. And since Golden Freddy's so rare, we thought that's not really a smart idea, and we don't know how we would incorporate Golden Freddy in a live scenario. And we also didn't have a Golden Freddy suit. We did for the movie because we got one of our friends to make the suit for us. But that was
actually, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that just hit me. I remember you made that FNAF 1 in real life, and you just put, I'm assuming friends, not, obviously, maybe it was random people. Was it random people?
No, we put our friends who are willing to sweat in these costumes for like 4 hours straight. So
oh my goodness. Yeah, that's true.
I feel so bad.
Oh. And the place that you were recording this in, you bought like a warehouse, right? That's what you did. You converted a warehouse into a actual restaurant.
Yeah, basically, we took we had this huge I think it's called a pole barn, and we just put it in there, and it was roughly the right dimensions to where we could fit an entire pizzeria in it, and it's it's pretty crazy. As you look on the outside, and it just looks like a warehouse. You're like, oh, there's nothing in there.
Mm-hmm.
People drive every day, and then nope, there's FNAF 1 in that building. It's so weird.
Little do they know.
Exactly.
Okay, so obviously, how much did the camera equipment did the camera equipment that you used? Did you have that before you made the film, or did you acquire it just to make the film?
So good question. So all of the security cameras we already had because of the FNAF 1 in real life and stuff like that. But my buddy Matthew, who is a brilliant man, he was the one who wrote, directed, basically did all of the hard, dirty work for this movie. He went to this film school, and he got a bunch of technical know-how on what's good, what's not, and he actually got I think a gift for a camera, and it was some sort of grant that he got at this fancy, basically bottom of the grade Netflix quality camera, and that's what we shot to film the movie. It shoots in 4K. It's stunning. It's very, very heavy on the file size, so we had, I think, unedited and not compressed or anything. I think all of the raw files were over 4 terabytes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's a lot of data.
Down. Yeah, so that was a lot of rough looking through for the movie, I'm sure. But so yeah, that's what we had for our camera. We also used a couple of new iPhones to do some wider shots. They filmed in HDR, that was really good for low light.
Those iPhones are getting pretty insane. I gotta say, those iPhones, the camera quality on them, it's getting really good. It's
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if more movie companies use an iPhone for a shot here and there, because they're pretty helpful.
All right, so obviously past the camera equipment, this is another FNAF overall question. Obviously, in order to make a movie like this, you have to be a fan. What is your favorite Five Nights at Freddy's game? Maybe your favorite animatronic? What is something about the franchise that you love?
All right, so this has changed a lot recently because of how often people are like, "What's your favorite game?" And I'm like, "Hold on, let me actually like really think about it."
Mm-hmm.
So when the games were coming out, like 2013, 2014, and so on, initially my favorite game was FNAF 2. I couldn't, stop playing it. It was so much fun,
It's
and I think it was
chaotic.
FNAF 2. Yeah, I think it was FNAF 2 until like 2018 or something like that. And then it eventually got taken over by Sister Location for a few years. Um, and then when the VR game came out, I loved the VR game, but I don't know if it was my favorite. But right now, my
Okay,
favorite
moment
FNAF
of pause.
game
Drum roll, please.
is Five Nights at Freddy's 6. It's the reason,
Ooh.
and I know that's a hot take for a
It,
lot of
it
FNAF
ooh.
fans,
It's a
but
hot take. It's a
my
hot take. But what?
my reason for it is it's genuine Scott Cawthon having fun and putting his twist on it while also keeping the really cool lore elements of the games. And it ties a lot in. It has the best quote finale. We thought it was the finale, and
That's
then
true.
that didn't happen. Um, maybe somehow, some way, it still is. I don't know. So much has happened,
The
but
story is so crazy right now. It's just so
exactly,
I'm trying to work on a theory video right now where I'm combating Matt Pat, and I'm just like, man, there is so much going on. It's insane.
it's ridiculous. uh, but yeah, it's my favorite FNAF game right now. I think it would be hilarious to do in real life because we would just say to people, "All right, where do you want your table?" And they'd be like, "Oh, I want to put it over here," and that's what we would do. So but yeah, that's my favorite FNAF game right now. My favorite animatronic has always been Foxy. Um,
Foxy, so you're
yeah,
William Afton? Is that what I'm picking up here?
maybe I don't
Uh,
know.
all right. So obviously talking about the FNAF games, this is a pretty big question. I'm not sure if you have this answered yet. The Expo channel has spent a lot of years, spent a lot of time, effort, money, resources on this film. What is next? I don't know if you want to share it. I know that in your description you're talking about FNAF 3 in real life. You have a couple things in there, but what is next for the Expo channel going forward from this major milestone in your channel? Like this is pretty big. This is like a Mount Everest right here. What is it going forward? What do you think is going to happen going forward?
Yeah, so we've been putting a lot of thought into this. Obviously, the next official 100% project that we are going to be doing is next spring. We're going to be doing Five Nights at Freddy's 3 in real life. Now, I know to complete the series, we would have to do FNAF 2. We need a bigger space to do FNAF 2
That's
because of
true.
how
It's the
big
biggest
that
restaurant.
restaurant is. Exactly. So it would be very, very difficult to do. But unless if some miracle happens, uh, we would have to put a hold on FNAF 2. And as you know, the FNAF games just get bigger and bigger. So we would be at a standstill. Um, so we were thinking of possibly expanding into other like games in real life. We want to do as much as we possibly can to keep everyone happy. We still have that really big soft spot for Five Nights at Freddy's, so we want to try to do whatever we can. If Scott Cawthon, Blumhouse, whoever were to call us tomorrow and say, "Hey, help us with the actual movie," hell yeah, that's what we would do. We would come, straight to the Hollywood building, wherever they're filming, and
The
help it
bunker, the
out.
secret bunker, wherever they're filming
Exactly.
this thing.
That's honestly that's what we wanted to do since the beginning. I've always wanted to be in the film industry. I've always wanted to be making content, doing entertainment, doing something somewhere for people.
So
And
actually, sorry, yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
oh, sorry. So, and if this is the way to get there, then I am 100% on board. I just want people to have fun and people to enjoy the stuff that we make along the way, and that's really all that matters.
So that's actually a pretty good point because a lot of people create content on YouTube. So I'm trying to make content on YouTube as like grow my channel, grow an audience. But it
Yep.
sounds for you that this is merely just a stepping stone into something bigger. Is your end goal like the having X Blue Studios be an actual video production company and movie production company in the future? Is that what you want to do?
That's the dream.
That
And I honestly, I don't care how we get there. It could literally be like, um, the people who own Five Nights at Freddy's right now, because Scott Cawthon is kind of in like that hot water-ish idling area.
yes, that hot water
He
ish.
could, he could totally be like, hey, look, X Blue, I know you guys just made a full movie. You're making the sets in real life. You obviously care about it more than a lot of people. Why not? Hey, you go take the reins. I'll sit back, tell you what to do. Whatever. That would be awesome. That
Hmm.
would be so cool. But the odds of that happening are not very high. So we thought, okay, this is kind of like what you said. This is the stepping stone. Um, where if we can at least make a name for ourselves and make a lot of friends and do whatever we can to do that, then as soon as we get to where we want to be, then I feel like we'll have the experience necessary. We have the resources, the tools, the know-how to do a lot. um, and I know from this movie, from the past two Five Nights at Freddy's in real life that we've done, we certainly learned a lot. And we've certainly learned a lot about how to entertain audiences. And I think having this information is crucial going forward into hopefully making a business or being part of a business or just doing something like this somewhere.
So film industry is the final goal for something like this. So I mean, it sounds like you got a lot planned. I mean, a movie like this, a project like this, how big it is, and also you had a lot of people who were hoping for this. I remember seeing your community post when this was coming out. You had people who were super excited and like patient. Some people were like, I've waited long enough. You had so many people just like waiting, just commenting nonstop, who were so excited for this project, waiting, sleeping all night. People who were constantly waiting for this. Like you generated a lot of hype. You knew how to really work this one.
Yeah, and that goes strictly all thanks to my best friend Derek, and he's been in a few videos, and he's a pretty funny guy. But he just loves the business and social media aspect, and same thing with us. He loves making these films. He loves being part of the videos. He loves helping build the sets and everything like that. And he's been such a huge help to kind of generate that hype, like you were saying, and make the audience so unbelievably happy and excited for this movie. And that's just been so unbelievably rewarding. So, uh, yeah, as I like to say in all my videos, it's absolutely phenomenal.
So, for the actors that you got for this, were they all friends? Like, were they all friends and family that you knew? Is that who all the actors were for the film?
Yeah, so most of them were friends. A few were actually people that we knew from friends, so we kind of, connections through connections, stuff like that. Like the guy who played William Afton
Hmm.
was a coworker who works with my friend Derek, and he was just like, "Yeah, heck yeah, I'll be part of your film," and it worked out perfectly. He did such a good job.
He kind of
The
looked
guy
like
who
you.
played, yeah, yeah, and it worked
that that
out.
was
So
that was that was really good. I was when I was streaming. I pointed out. I was like, I don't know if this is his dad, but I was just like, this guy looks shockingly similar to your character when you were playing Michael Afton. That was really well done.
yeah, so it was kind of crazy, but so Henry was actually a teacher that we had in high school, so that was pretty cool. And then everyone else were friends, acquaintances, whatever, whoever we could get for the movie. Um, Initially, I had never, helped with a movie, a big scale project like this, so I wanted to be behind the camera. But Matthew, our director, was like, okay, you're the only other person who's as available as I am to make this movie, so you got to be Michael. And I'm like, oh boy, I don't know about
That
this.
that's a big role. That's a big responsibility.
So there, looking back on it, there's a few spots where I'm like, wow, that was awful, and there's a few spots where I'm like, okay, that wasn't bad. But obviously, my acting experience is probably just as good as somebody you'd find off the street. So we we did what we could.
Hey, the passion carried it. I mean, as someone who was watching it, I had a couple people on my stream, I could see that this really meant something to you guys. Uh, I'm not gonna lie, my favorite part of the movie was when you were in the office. When it was, you guys were so good. You said Matthew and just everyone on the team. You guys were really good at creating a suspenseful atmosphere. There was just something about when you were in the office and the ambience, the just the background music, the background noises. It just created this tension that like anything could happen. Any animatronic could appear at the door. The tapes were absolutely phenomenal. I cannot. Because I was okay. I'm not gonna lie here. I was half expecting you to just copy and paste the actual voice lines from it, but you took them, had someone obviously different voice them over, and then you had the messages at the end, which were amazing. It was creative, innovative, and it was perfect. I gotta say that was probably one of my favorite parts of the entire movie that when you were as the night guard. That was pretty good.
I am so glad you said that because we spent so much time trying to make the sound for this movie like top notch, as good as we could, considering we had no idea really what we were doing. And the tapes, that was completely Matthew Stacy's idea. Once again, brilliant man. And that we tried to incorporate as much as we could from the original game, like with audio lines and everything like that. We, in a perfect world, we would have contacted Scott to reprise his role as the tape phone guy, whatever you want to. But that would have been awesome. But we had to settle with just doing a normal voiceover, and it still worked. And as for the sound goes, we wanted something to be just like you said, building that suspense and building that excitement for not knowing what was going to happen. And I did all of the sound for the movie for the most part. Matthew tweaked some stuff.
Yeah, well done there. That was pretty good.
Yeah, so I mean that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted that deep, classic Five Nights at Freddy's ambience where you didn't know what was going to happen, and then once you did hear something, it was noticeable. You didn't know what it meant, and you wanted to know what it was. So it just kept you wanting more and kept you guessing, and that's I'm so glad you thought that was good because it's my favorite part of the movie. So thank you.
That's when I had the most interaction from people in my chat. It was like the suspense, who's outside the door, and actually just transitioning to something else here. Something else that I just wanted to ask you about is, did you go into this project expecting a loss on it? Was that the entire thing, or?
That's a really good question. Because obviously from the FNAF one in real life, we barely made our money back, and obviously we lost some money from that because we had to make this movie. And honestly, I guess we were expecting to not come out even, strictly because of we just wanted to make a movie for the FNAF fans.
The CPM isn't that great, right? Especially on something like that.
Yeah, unless if everyone who clicks on the video watches through the entire movie, which is never going to happen in a perfect world. Unless if that happens, you're not going to make a whole lot of money off of it. And strictly from this was just a passion project. It was for me, Matthew, and Derek to get some movie making experience. So then when we do this in the future, then we can be more prepared, and then it'll be a better product because we have the experience from this.
I mean, well done. If this is the first step in it, I can't wait to see what the next project is. And that actually brings me to the next one. Will there be a Five Nights at Freddy's 2? Doesn't have to be like, I don't mean like Five Nights at Freddy's 2 like the game. Will there be like a Night 6, Night 7 movie?
Oh man. Okay, so we honestly, I could give you the honest truth about it, or I could let you decide for yourself. It's up to you.
So cliffhanger or brutal truth, right? Is that what I'm faced here? Is that what I'm faced with? I will take cliffhanger. Oh, I just knocked on my earbud. Oops.
All right. So then what I'll say is, because we are working on Five Nights at Freddy's 3 in real life next year, we are possibly toying with the idea of making that sequel because of that after credit scene. And because we're thinking about doing something like that, we are not completely throwing away the possibility of making a second movie. Obviously, we would have to do a lot of planning again because we're less than a year out instead of a full year. But we would be excited, and we would be kind of looking forward to doing another project like this in the future. And we know exactly how we would do it. So if that's not a cliffhanger, then I don't know.
Okay, so if the opportunity presents itself, buckle up because there's a trailer coming soon.
Maybe, I don't know. There might be a trailer. You might have to wait for the FNAF 3 to finish, and then you see a trailer. I don't know. Or we might go in a completely different direction and show you something completely new. I don't know. But
I'm sure
way, it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, I'm sure whatever you guys do, you guys have the passion, the dedication, and you've already tipped your that's not what you say. Dipped your toe in the water, so you're already kind of preparing and know what these next steps is. Because just so the viewers know, this is the first film, anything like that they've released, and actually that leads me to actually another point of the creation of a film. When you guys were recording your process of making the film, it really seemed like you guys were having a lot of fun with it. and it really showed that this was a passion project. So when you create content in the future, are you gonna do the same thing where you're gonna, continue to upload videos about the process creating it and then the final project?
Oh, 110%. Like, for me and my friend Derek, and Matthew definitely as well, as he's been, getting more involved with these videos, is the most important thing to us is having fun and making each other laugh. Like in most friend groups, the hierarchy of power, if you will be like, oh, who's the strongest or who's the coolest or whatever. With us, it's who's the funniest, you know? We always are trying to make each other laugh and have as much fun as possible, and we always bring that type of energy whenever we're hanging out with each other. It can be when we're filming a movie, it can be when we're at a restaurant, it can be literally anywhere. And like you said, we are definitely going to be bringing that type of style of content where we show people what we're making, but we can't give them the final product until it's done before it's done, you know? So we'll be doing the exact same thing with the FNAF 3 build. As soon as we start building it and as soon as we start planning it, we will show you what we are doing in real time and give you that to, chew on, if you will, to build that hype. And then once the video is out, it's going to be so much more rewarding because you had been through that experience to see all of it happen. And it seems like you're, part of the team, part of the family, instead of like a Mr. Beast video where it just happens. You're like, oh my God, and you don't know the amount of work that goes into it, but we show you the amount of work because once again, it's just a chance for us to showcase our sense of humor. It's a chance for us to show you, hey, this is our channel. Get used to us. We're kind of silly, goofy. We make you, giggle, chuckle. We make you cry because, we're so unequivocally not funny at times, but, it's okay. It's worth it.
Hey, I just gotta say the content model is insane. You guys have done really well. It's also a great way to, I think, to just raise awareness, raise funding, I guess, if you want to call it that. Raising money towards that final product, which is the film. While I have you here, one last thing. Actually, two last things I should say. I lied. All right, I lied. There we go. One last thing. What was the first video? Not the first video, but the first thing that you started doing with the XBlue channel?
Wow. Oh, I have been looking forward to this day where someone has asked me this. So, the XBlue channel has been around for a very long time. Here, let me just double check on the date. I'm pretty sure I know it, but I don't want to be wrong. So this channel was created April 28th of 2012. So
that's older than a ton of people's channels.
So we're looking past our 10th year anniversary. We're currently in it right now, but we don't have enough, of a following for people to really care. So we were kind of just, going, hey, haha, haha, we're 10 years anyway, But so oh my gosh, the first video, I still have it. I just have tried re-uploading it a few times and no one really cared, so I just haven't, done anything with it. Our first video was me and my two or three friends at the time, at elementary school. I was filming all of this stuff on my 3DS, and we just were goofing around in a playground, running around saying dumb one-liners to the camera, and we called it the Bro Show. That's where we came from. When we went from that to I transitioned into a probably good 5 or 6, maybe even 7-year hiatus of making YouTube poops because I just loved that type of content. And everyone listening right now, if you know how to make good, funny, well-edited YouTube poops, that type of editing is so helpful in today's social media landscape, because that type of editing is what makes people laugh, and if you know how to do that, you're perfect. Like, guys, the person you're watching right now, Sandwichly, knows what he's doing.
Future Sandwichly here. I actually have no idea what I'm doing. I'm hoping XBlue could tell me what I'm doing because I have no idea what it is. This, it's just a jumble of thoughts up here. There's nothing going on up there. There really is nothing, but back to the video. Hope you enjoy.
He has that editing style down. He's got it naturally down.
I use a free software. Let's not give me too much credit here. I use a free software. We hit 1,000 subs and I'm monetized. We might be able to afford Premiere, but we're working our way there.
But point being, is this type of editing style is so much fun, and I love to do it. And because of me making those really weird, silly, like school videos to transitioning to YouTube poops, is the reason why we have that type of sense of humor and this type of drive, because we know what works, we know what doesn't work, and therefore we try to meet in the middle and make something as absolutely incredible as possible. So, and also in the past, we had made a bunch of silly, goofy videos. Like, I have one of my most popular videos on my channel is Kachiga 10 hours. What? Why? I don't know why
Let me
I
actually.
uploaded it.
Wait, popular? Actually, wait. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
yeah.
135,000 views. Oh my goodness.
135,000 people clicked on Kachiga 10 hours, and now I'm making FNAF movies. What happened?
Kachiga 10 hours. Oh
So
my goodness.
that's where I came from. It's such a
That's
weird
humble beginnings
story.
right there. Kachiga
Yeah.
10 hours. Okay.
So we just came from a place where we wanted to make people laugh, and now we're doing it in a full grand scheme of making movies and making Five Nights at Freddy's content. So it's pretty crazy. It's very surreal. To think
It's a
about it.
pretty cool create. So actually, one last, the last final question I'll ask right here. This is a direct appeal to the audience. What is one thing if you want to tell someone right now who's wants to make YouTube content, wants to do what you're doing, whether it's production, whether it's just making YouTube videos in general? What is one thing you would recommend as a content creator?
I love this question, and I have been waiting for someone to ask me this. So thank you for giving me the opportunity.
No
Um,
worries. You're here.
I will,
You're doing me the honor of being here.
I will forever remember this interview as my first amazing interview.
The first of many.
So yeah, I hope so. Um, so literally, do not let anyone tell you that you can't do what you want to do. And literally, what you think might work might not fly with certain types of people, or it might not be funny, or it might not be what they like, but that shouldn't stop you from making what you want to make. And especially that goes with us. Just because no one had made a in-depth Five Nights at Freddy's movie doesn't mean that you can't. And just because people are making in real life versions of video games doesn't mean you can't. And I feel like there's a lot of communities on the internet that are trying to push down people for showing their creative side, or trying to prevent people from doing literally anything to rival another person's presence on the internet. And I feel like the more creative, fun people who are willing to show what they're passionate about and show what they care about, the better this world will be. And that's exactly what we need. So if you want to make a YouTube video, go make a YouTube video. It may not be popular with your first video, and it may not be popular with me. I didn't reach any sort of popularity until my channel hit 10 years of being on this website.
That's
So it
hard
may
work.
not be, yeah, it may not come instantly. It may not come, over a big span of time. Or it may. And that's totally just, luck. It's the drive. And if you are truly and utterly passionate about it, that's all that matters. And you got to just keep your foot on the pedal and keep going. And yeah, I'll see you up here at the at the FNAF top when you get here, because oh boy, it's so weird. But we're just gonna keep doing what we're doing because we have fun. Don't do YouTube if you're in it for the money. Do
Because
it
there's
because
none. There is
yeah,
none at the. There's nothing.
oh, especially in this world we live in. But
Talking from a guy who just made a movie, $20,000 budget. It takes 1 million views to barely crack like $5,000. It's
it barely takes that much to crack even. So obviously, the best thing you guys can do is ask for a camera for Christmas, or like
that is Elgato.
you know,
Elgato. If
yeah,
you're doing
yeah,
video game
or
content,
some
Elgato.
sort of streaming, recording equipment, and start with that. I remember my first computer. I was so happy. It barely works now because I destroyed it and didn't know what I was doing. And now I have transitioned into a really nice setup. I have multiple computers so I can take one on the road and edit and be productive. and it just shows you. I mean, obviously people are going to be passionate about different things. So if you don't want to make movies on your YouTube channel, you can go dance. You can interview people in the street. You can make FNAF news like what you're doing. I mean, this is cool stuff. So you're gonna find a community no matter what you do. You just have to get there.
And let's be honest, we're talking to a guy who is an adult, who is making a movie and spent all his money on a movie that was about a kid's game where a serial killer stuffs dead kids' bodies into animatronic suits. So let's just remember who we're hearing this from. So he knows everything. I'm sure you know everything about. People are just looking at you weird like, what are you doing? Like, what is this?
As much as this doesn't work, it also totally works. And as long as you think that you know what you're doing and you don't let anyone else push you down, that's all that matters. And here I am 21 years old, making FNAF content for a bunch of people that are probably not even able to drive a car, but I don't care. They're enjoying this content, I'm enjoying making it, and therefore it's a nice little, symbiotic relationship.
All right, well, that's perfect. Thank you, XBlue. Thank you for talking to me on this video. Everybody subscribe right now. XBlue, I will put his link in the description. Go check out the movie. Leave a like. Watch the entire movie. It's good for the retention. It's good for the channel. Thank you so much, XBlue.
Subscribe to Sandwichly.
Oh, yeah, subscribe to Sandwichly, too. This channel, too.
So good. This channel's the best channel I've ever seen.
It's down there somewhere. It's down there somewhere. They changed the color now. Can we get YouTube to change that back? The iconic red is gone. What are we doing? What are we doing, Google?
Guys, spam in the comments. I love Sandwichly.
Thank you. That's good. That's
Thank you for
good.
having me here.
That's good for it. Thank you so much, XBlue.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me here.